How did Egypt manage to stay united for over 3,000 years while other kingdoms rose and fell? How could a civilization stretch for hundreds of kilometers along the Nile and maintain an order that lasted generation after generation? When we think of ancient Egypt, we often imagine pyramids, monumental temples, and powerful pharaohs. But behind each of these structures lay something even more impressive: a complex political and social organization capable of coordinating millions of people for centuries. Understanding how this organization functioned allows us to uncover one of the most important secrets of Egyptian longevity. Because great civilizations are not sustained solely by stone monuments. They are sustained by the people, institutions, and ideas that bind a nation together. At the top of Egyptian society stood the pharaoh. For the Egyptians, the pharaoh was not simply a king. He was considered the representative of the gods on earth and the one charged with preserving the order of the universe. His authority had a political, religious, and symbolic dimension all at once. Ruling meant much more than managing resources or leading armies. It meant maintaining the balance between heaven, earth, and society. This idea was deeply connected to a fundamental concept in Egyptian culture known as Maat. Maat represented order, truth, justice, and harmony. The Egyptians believed that the universe functioned because of this sacred balance. When justice reigned, the crops prospered. When there was harmony, the kingdom flourished. The pharaoh's primary duty was to protect and preserve that balance. However, no single ruler could administer such a vast territory alone. For this purpose, a complex governmental structure existed. The most important official after the pharaoh was the vizier. He could be compared to a prime minister or chief administrator. He oversaw construction projects, managed resources, coordinated officials, and helped enforce the kingdom's laws. Under the vizier worked numerous specialized officials. Some were in charge of agriculture, others of tax collection. Still others oversaw public works, warehouses, and the distribution of resources. Throughout the Nile Valley, there were also regional governors responsible for administering different areas of the territory. Thanks to this administrative network, decisions could be implemented even over great distances. But all this organization depended on one essential thing: information. And here we find one of the most important groups in Egyptian society: the scribes. In an age when most people were illiterate, scribes were highly valued specialists. They recorded taxes, they produced official documents, they preserved historical records, they managed resources, and they passed knowledge down from one generation to the next. Becoming a scribe required years of training and discipline. It was a prestigious profession that offered opportunities for social advancement. Thanks to them, the government could coordinate complex activities and maintain accurate records about life in the kingdom. Egyptian society was organized into different levels. At the top was the royal family. Then came the nobility and high officials. Priests responsible for the temples and numerous religious activities also held important positions. Below them were scribes, skilled artisans, merchants, and builders. Finally, The majority of the population consisted of farmers and laborers who sustained the kingdom's economy. Although this structure was hierarchical, it was not entirely rigid. Education and certain professions allowed some people to improve their social standing, especially scribes and administrative officials. Another fascinating aspect of Egyptian organization was the role of the temples. Beyond being religious centers, they also functioned as economic and administrative institutions. They owned land, managed resources, and provided employment for thousands. Priests did not only perform ceremonies, they also participated in activities related to administration and the preservation of knowledge. Meanwhile, families formed the basis of daily life. Cooperation between generations was essential. Parents passed on trades, knowledge, and traditions to their children. Many professions were passed down from one generation to the next, contributing to the stability of society. Egypt was not isolated from the rest of the world. Through trade and diplomacy, it maintained relations with numerous neighboring peoples. It exchanged goods, knowledge, and technologies. At times, it established political alliances and cooperation agreements. Even some royal marriages served to strengthen relations between different kingdoms. One of the best-known examples occurred after major conflicts with the Hittites. Over time, both powers reached diplomatic agreements that helped maintain regional stability. These events show that Egyptian politics was not limited to within its borders. It was also part of a broader network of international relations. When we look at the pyramids, temples, and monumental tombs, it's easy to focus solely on the grand structures. However, behind every stone block existed a carefully organized society. Farmers cultivating food, artisans creating tools, scribes recording information, officials coordinating resources, priests preserving traditions, and rulers striving to maintain the balance of the entire system. Perhaps the greatest achievement of ancient Egypt wasn't simply building monuments capable of defying the passage of time. Perhaps its true masterpiece was creating a social and political organization so efficient that it allowed one of history's most extraordinary civilizations to thrive for over 3,000 years. And that legacy of organization, cooperation, and long-term vision continues to inspire us to this day.